Today I'll be making an aubergine, red pepper and potato bhaji. I have made this a few times and you may have already seen some videos on it, but it's been so popular that Crumble Studios have asked me to come down and do it again and show them how to do it. So I need, for this dish, aubergine, potatoes, red peppers, we've got turmeric, coriander and cumin powder, some salt and our Indian 5-spice, which is the panch pooran. I'm also going to be using a Scotch bonnet in my dish, and I'll be using it whole. And the reason I'm going to use it whole is because if I take this little bit off here, it's going to make the dish too hot to eat. But if I just add it in as it is, it will give it a really, really nice flavour and a very small kick, but it will be absolutely delicious. So I'm just using one onion for this dish, which I'm cutting finely. I'm using a sweet onion actually, but any onion's fine. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of oil into the pan, and we're going to allow that to heat up. And then as soon as that's heated up, before we do anything else, the Indian 5-spice will be put inside the oil, and you'll find that it's going to pop, it's going to make a mess all over your cooker, but it's going to taste good, so you know. We'll put the tablespoon of panch pooran in there, allow that to heat up. So this dish is actually a dish from Bangladesh. It's a very, very traditional dish, and it's very few spices needed for it. And it doesn't take too long either. So this is really great for people who are in a hurry, or you know, you've got guests coming around. It's really colourful as well, but it's so full of flavour. So it's starting to pop now. So then what we do next is add a tablespoon of garlic and ginger paste. You can really smell that. The Indian 5-spice has got a really lovely nutty smell. So that was the onion that's gone in now. Now while we're waiting for the onions to soften, I'm just going to put about half a teaspoon of salt, but it is to taste. Now I'm going to add in at this point our Scotch bonnet. Now, as I said before, if you want it with just a really nice bit of a kick, but not too hot, add it in whole the way I am. If you want it a little bit hotter, in fact, if you want it really hot, just cut it in half and then chuck it in. So we've got some red peppers. I found these baby red peppers in the shop and I think they're brilliant. You can use different colours as well, so if you don't have the red one and you've got the green one, it's fine. So I've used 3 potatoes for this dish, but obviously potatoes all sized up differently. So the ones I'm using they're not baby potatoes, but they're not really big. So if you've got 2 big potatoes at home, that should be fine. And then I'm just going to chop this aubergine as well. Now, if you cut this into smaller pieces, it becomes, at the end, it almost melts. So it's quite nice to chop it into cube size, which is a little bit bigger, so they don't completely melt into each other and you've got a bit that you can really bite into. So if you have vegan friends coming round for dinner, this is the ideal dish to make because it's so full flavoured. And I think sometimes vegans get a bit of a raw deal when it comes to their food because it seems to be quite bland, whereas this one's so full flavoured, and I think it'll be a real treat for them. I'm going to add now some turmeric, and I'm adding about 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, a teaspoon of cumin powder, and 1.5 teaspoons of coriander powder. Give that a mix. So we've put in the cumin, the turmeric and the coriander powder, and now what we're going to do is add the potato. Now we're going to add the potato first so that we can give it a bit more time to cook. The other elements of the dish, the pepper and the aubergine, will go in a bit later. Right, so I've allowed the potato to cook for a few minutes with the onions, garlic and ginger, the chilli and the spices. And now I'm going to add the aubergine and the red pepper. It looks really nice and colourful already. If you find that everything's sticking to the bottom of the pan, just add a little touch of water, but not too much. So always be aware with the potatoes, the type of potato you're using. If you're using like the really small salad potatoes, they don't cook very well with this dish. So just using a very basic, ordinary white potato is perfect for this. The dish is nearly ready now, so I'm just going to cut some fresh coriander really finely and just sprinkle it on the top. So there you are, guys. That was so easy to cook and it is absolutely delicious. We just garnish it with some fresh coriander.